I'm both blessed and honored to be part of the Prison Riot Radio movement for the last year while in the state of New York Correctional Facility, Auburn to be exact. Starting off with Art from Behind Bars, spoken words, poetry, updates from accomplishments, and speeches for the youth, the outside events, for the African American Educational Culture Festival, Inc. Fourth event with the Peace and Forgiveness speech, the month of Black August speech, and also one's experience is the next one's teaching for the youthful ones inside group home environments. Harriet Tubman, born Araminta Ross, was born in March 1822 in Dorchester County, Maryland, and died March 10th, 1913 at the age of 91 in Auburn, New York, and is resting in peace in Fort Hill Cemetery in Auburn, New York as well. After escaping slavery, Tubman made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people, including her family and friends, using the Underground Railroad during the American Civil War. Tubman served as an armed scout and a spy for the Union Army and became an activist in the movement for women's suffrage. Tubman was beaten and whipped by enslavers as a child. In 1978, Tubman became the first African American woman honored on a U.S. postage stamp. She also appeared on a second stamp in 1995. We all originally come from one continent, which was Africa, until more land was built across the nation's globe. Even though slavery is over by law, it really isn't, because under the 13th Amendment, while in the custody of any prison, jail, correctional institutions, they can treat you with the same laws as slavery. Therefore, we come a long way, yet still have more improvement for our environments. Marcus Garvey Jr. was born August 17th, 1887 in St. Anna's Bay, Jamaica, and died on June 10th, 1940 at the age of 52 in London, England, after suffering 2 strokes. He was known as a leading political figure because of his determination to fight for the unity of African Americans and by creating a Universal Negro Improvement Association, rallying to gather up supporters to fight. With this group, Garvey touched upon many topics such as education, the economy, and independency. He felt that communists would be more beneficial for the white culture people by solving their own political and economic problems, but would further limit the success of blacks rising together. In 1965, during a trip to Jamaica, Dr. Martin Luther King and his wife Coretta Scott, in a speech, King told the audience that Garvey was the first man of color to lead and develop a mass movement. He was the man on a mass scale and levels to give millions of Negroes a sense of dignity, destiny, and making the Negroes feel as if he and she was somebody very important. However, Marcus Garvey also recognized the influence of the Ku Klux Klan, and in early 1922, he went to Atlanta, Georgia for a conference with the KKK imperial giant Edward Young Clark. According to Garvey, he regarded the Klan, the Anglo-Saxon Club, and the white American societies, as far as the Negroes is concerned, as better friends of the race than all other groups of hypothetical whites put together, because he liked honesty and fair play. He also expressed that you may call him a Klansman if you like, but politically, potentially, every white man is a Klansman as far as a Negro in competition with white socially, economically, and politically is concerned, and that there is no use in lying. Leo H. Healy publicly accused Garvey of being a member of the Ku Klux Klan during the mail fraud trial after Garvey encountered with the Klan. A number of African Americans leaders appealed to the Attorney General, Harry M. Doherty, to have Garvey incarcerated. And in February 1925, Garvey had his first message to the Negroes of the world from an Atlanta prison that quote, "Look for me in the whirlwind storm. Look for me around you all. For God's grace I shall come and bring with me countless millions of black slaves who have died in America and the West Indies and millions in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life." His belief deeply influenced Rastafarians, who took his statements as a prophecy of the crowning of Allah Sai of Ethiopia. Rastas considered Garvey to be a religious prophet as well, and although Garvey never identified himself as being part of the Rastafarian movement, was in fact raised as a Methodist who went on to become a Roman Catholic. He is remembered through a number of memorials worldwide. Most of them are in Jamaica, England, and the United States. Others are in Canada and several nations in Africa. This is partly because of his frequent statements and speeches throughout the 1920s, and usually along the lines of "Look to Africa when a black king and queen shall be crowned, for the deliverance is at hand." Therefore, with that being said, I also would like to toast to everybody on the Prison Riot Radio platform who contribute to Black History Month while inside the jail and prison institutions. 98.3 BPME, the Sound Radio Station. Second Chance University, Andre Norman and the whole exec team. African American Educational Culture Festival, Inc. And everyone who are in celebration with Black History Month across the nation's globe. We all are part of Black History Month for 2026 February as well, not only for the recognitions for those paving the world a better way for us in the past, but to us all for doing our best to continue in unifying. We're all as one for the betterment today and also for the near future. Because as I already mentioned before, we all originally come from one continent, one God, one aim, one destiny. Peace be unto us all. Rise us all up. Thomas Lee Trent.